Hello everyone, Mark with High Tech Legion. I have here with me the Phanteks Enthoo Pro, and I'm going to show you guys a few of the features of this case that are incorporated right out of the box. Just give you guys a walkthrough of the side panel window, the front, all the accessories that are included in the case, the expansion slots, the wire management that's onto the back of the case, and just give you guys an idea of what this case is really capable of. If we start by taking a look at the front of the case here, we can see there are three external 5 1/4 inch bays. Right here you can either push in at the top, or there's this little tab, you can lift this up, and we have our front I/O panel, which includes two USB 3.0, two USB 2.0, a microphone, a headphone, and a reset port. You can see the nice mesh here in the front with the fans behind it. The front of the case, you simply grab underneath it, pull forward, comes right off. Here we can see this fan filter, a few plastic clips. Fan filter is removable. There's also no electronics on the front of the case, so this could be blown out, washed out, whatever you'd like to do, or if you just wanted to take the filter off and wash that out, you can do that very easily. On the front of the case here, we see the 200mm fan, the premium fan that's included from Phanteks. You can also see the slots here, here, and here for mounting a 120 or 240mm radiator at the front of the case. It's adjustable up and down. There's also slots for two 120mm fans if you weren't going to be water cooling, and for two 140mm fans, along with the 200mm fan on the front. We can see our expansion bays here. Everything just clips in very nicely. Underneath the front we have a fan filter that's included for the two bottom fans that you could install in this case, or a radiator at the bottom if you were to remove the drive cages to give you accessibility to install that. The front of the case, again, line it up just very easily, clips back into place. If we look at the window side here, we can see the two very nice windows on the side of the case. They are tinted, but we can see through them very easily. Here you can see the Phanteks badge in the lower window. If we take the side panel off, here we can see our 5 1/4 inch. It's all toolless. We have our power supply shroud. I've already taken, there's 3 screws that hold it into the back of the case, and this just comes right out. But if you take a look here, we have all of our cables inside for our front panel headers and for our fans that are included, and also for our PWM hub, your USB 3.0, your power switch, audio reset, and your front panel audio and USB headers. The case has a very nice interior design with our power supply here. If our power supply was mounted behind this shroud, the 3 screws hold it into place very well. It's very clean, very appealing. Plenty of rubber grommets on the case that hold nicely in place for all of your cable management. The whole front area here does remove just using Phillips screws. You can also remove the top of the case just using Phillips screws. If we take the power supply shroud out, it just lifts up, comes out, very nice. Has an area here if you wanted to route cables through the front, maybe for your graphics cards. And then we can also see the big grommet behind it here to route all of your cables from your power supply through to feed to the back of the case. On the bottom of the case, there's nice rubber mounting feet for your power supply. There's 6 rubber mounting feet actually, so you could, a longer power supply would fit on here and still be supported by the rubber feet to help with vibration. And then underneath here, there would be the spot for our fans that we talked about. If we put our side panel, just set that back in there. Let's rotate, have a look at the back of the case. The case for a full tower case is a nice size. It is very lightweight. It is easy to maneuver. It does have rubber padded feet at the bottom to help prevent vibration. For your power supply, there's also a filter included here. They very nicely just line up and slide right in place, come out very easily. We see our power supply mount here, There's 8 expansion ports for PCI or PCI Express cards. Here's your I/O panel here for your motherboard. And then we see on the back there's mounting for a 120 or a 140 millimeter fan or radiator. It is slotted, so this can be adjusted up and down for wherever you would like best placement of your fan or your radiator. If we take a look at our backside panel here, just a nice finish, nice black mesh panel, 2 thumb screws, and the thumb screws for the rear of the case have a small rubber washer on them, so there's no need to over tighten them, and they hold very nicely in place. Now we can see all of our cables here for our front panel and our front fan, which are tucked very nicely. Phanteks has included with the case here these Velcro straps, so cable management, as you can see, is a breeze. Simply feed it through the Velcro, strap it down, it's all set. If you need to remove a component, replace a component, it's very easy to do that with these included Velcro straps, being that they are removable by just a Phillips head screw. You could slide them right out of there. You could also attach a zip tie if you'd like to put a zip tie in place instead of these Velcro straps. But these Velcro straps seem to work very nicely. The back side here, we can see that our back plate for our motherboard for our CPU coolers, it's open, it's very large, gives us easy access to the back plate, so there's no worry about putting your motherboard in and then having to mount your CPU cooler, because you can very easily get access to that back plate right through the case here. So here we can see our PWM fan header. The power for it is a SATA power connector. It's not a Molex connector, so if you don't have any other devices in your system that require Molex power, you don't have to worry about having a Molex connector on your power supply. If you have a modular supply and you didn't want to plug that cable in, it reaches over here nicely. You could put it underneath one of these straps, and it could run off of a SATA power cord that was plugged also into your hard drives from your hard drives bays right over here. It has on this side the 4-pin PWM plug that could be fed up, plugged into your motherboard, and controlled through the BIOS. When you set the fan speed in the BIOS, it will control the number 1 header here, which is white and, well, more like an ivory cream color, and there are 6 total headers, the rest are in black. When you set that control and you have a fan plugged into number 1, it will then control the rest of the headers according to the speed that you set the number 1 speed to. There are available accessories on the Phanteks website where you can purchase a connector to plug 2 fans into 1 header, but they don't recommend you do that for the number 1 header. Also, you can plug a total of 30 amps worth of fans into this PWM controller, but no more than that. So if you did use 2 3-pin connectors to plug into 1 port, you just have to make sure that your fans were no more than a combined 30 amps. We also see these nice little Velcro straps all around the back of the case here. So anywhere you need to run cables, up in through here for your 8-pin, or the fan for the rear of the case, if you wanted to run that down, you know, connect it through all your Velcro straps, plug it into your PWM fan header, you could do so. And those straps would hold that wire nicely in place. Your fan from the front of the case, the same thing if you wanted to run it through the Velcro straps or up and over with the rest of your cables, and then plug it into the fan header. The straps that are provided through the case along with the rubber grommets allow for very nice cable management on the back of this case. We also have here our SSD bracket. There's just little rubber bushings on the back of the case here. The SSD bracket, your screw holes on the side. So you'd screw your SSD in. There's 2 mounting locations, one here at the bottom of the case that it just goes into the larger holes, slides and locks in place, and one right up here. Only one SSD bracket is included with the Phanteks Enthoo Pro at the price point of $89.99. However, you can purchase additional, like I said, directly from the Phanteks website. So all your drive bays that are up here, If you wanted to remove these, to possibly remove this whole front section, you could do so, and with the one included bracket and a secondary bracket, you could still run 2 SSDs in your system. The drive bays here are very nice. You just push together, slide your 3.5-inch drive bay out. You can also see that there's holes here for your 2.5-inch drive or SSD that would screw up from underneath, and Phanteks has a little demonstration right here. What you do is you pull apart your 2 clips on the side, put your 3.5-inch drive in. These clips push through the little rubber pads, they lock in, and your drive is secure. Slide it back into your drive bay. It latches in place, secures very nicely. It's not going to come loose. There's no slack or play on these. If you wanted to remove these drive cages, there's 2 thumb screws for each section. So we can take these thumb screws out, grab the little tab at the top, and the whole drive cage slides right out. Each section is 3 of the cages, and you can see then this opens up this whole area here. If you wanted to take the lower portion out, again, 2 thumb screws, remove those, grab, slide that out. Now this whole area is wide open, so your front fan, there'd be no restriction of intake of air to the rest of your system. Like I said, you could have 2 SSDs on the back of the case, so if you were using network storage, or you had a place to have a larger storage drive, or if you used a larger SSD, you didn't want to have the drive cages, you wanted to increase airflow, you could very simply remove these like I just showed you there. If you want to put them back in, they slide in place. Tighten down your thumb screws, and you're all set. All your drive cages would be right back in. Very easy to pull them in and out. Again, this whole 5.25-inch drive bay area here removes with just a few screws, maybe 10 or 12 Phillips head screws. Very easy to customize however you want this case to fit for whatever system you're going to be building. If you're going to be doing water cooling and you wanted to gain some accessibility to the front here so you could mount a radiator, maybe you were going to have a thicker radiator on it because there is no fan that you can mount up in the front of the case here without modification. It has to be inside. So we can see this 200mm fan, it's about 25mm thick. So if you had a 25mm thick radiator, you wanted to put fans, you can very easily remove these drive cages. You also have plenty of support on the top of the case for radiators, along with the rear of the case. The rear of the case, as I said, you could put a 120 or a 140mm radiator, adjustable up or down. And on the top of the case here, again, Phanteks has incorporated very nicely this metal mesh. There is a filter inside here to prevent dust from getting in. You could have your fans pulling through and it would be filtered. You can see your power button on the top here. You can see the clear around it. The power button would light up with your power LED. The front of the case, the top of the case here, it's plastic, but it has a nice brushed aluminum look and feel to it. It does lock underneath the front of the case. So in order to remove the top of the case, we need to at least unlatch the front of the case, which again is very easy. It just simply unclips, and the top is the same way. You can just pull right from underneath here, and it pops right off. You see that little front lip that locks underneath the front of the case, so you would want to remove that in order to remove the top of the case. We can see again here our filter inside here. This doesn't remove quite as easy as the front of the case. You'd actually have to bend these metal tabs backwards and push this top mesh out to get the filter out. However, as you can see, there's no circuit boards or electronics mounted to the top, so if you wanted to wash it off or blow it out with air, you could do that without disrupting anything. Just make sure it was dry before you mounted it back onto your case. On the top of the case here, we can see all of our slotted holes here for radiators. You could mount up to a 420 radiator, which is a radiator for 3 140mm fans, and it is slotted, so it is adjustable from the front to the back, so however you want to fit in your positioning. Just has to be a thinner radiator again, maybe 25mm, because this is not offset at all. If it was a thicker radiator, like a Black Ice GTX or the SR1s, that were about 55 millimeters thick. With that and with your fans mounted beneath the radiator blowing air up through the case, it would interfere with your motherboard. So if you have a top voltage regulator heatsink on your motherboard, or your memory clips, it will interfere if you use a thicker radiator in the top. If this would have been slightly offset, it probably could have taken advantage of that so that it didn't interfere. But if you use a thinner radiator up here, you do have the expansive capabilities of a thicker radiator in the front, a thicker radiator in the bottom if you removed your side panel, and also in the rear. So there's plenty of cooling options when it comes to this case. Of course, you see your little power switch circuitry here with your power button on it. Everything unplugs very easily, unclips nicely, and was very well thought out with the layout of this case. That just clips right back in place. So we'll go ahead and clip the front of the case back on. Very nice and easy. Once your wires were all managed here through your cable ties, you can very easily, there's plenty of space in the back here to tuck your cables, hide your cables, whatever you wanted to do. These panels mount very nicely. It's a circular mount in the front, so they just go on, they slide in, and then with our thumb screws in the back, they line up very nicely. It's very easy to take the panels on and off. Screw tight. Little rubber washers, no need for over tightening. That'll also help prevent vibration on the side of the case. So we'll go ahead and rotate here, get a shot at the front, and we'll look at the little accessory box that Phanteks includes. Nice cardboard box. You can see here some extra zip ties and Velcro straps. If a strap was to break, or if you just wanted to use a Velcro strap to tidy up some of your cables, those are included. There's also a mounting bracket. There's also a mounting bracket for a reservoir that would simply go right inside there. You would need to leave the 5 1/4 inch bay at least in for this. There is a side bracket here, so you could remove the 3 1/4 or the 3 1/2 inch drive bays. Still use this bracket to mount your reservoir into the side of the case there. Plenty of customization available with this case. The owner's manual is very nice, glossy, goes through all the features of the case, all the screws that are included, all the different panels, the feet, everything is completely removable from this case. All your screws, how to take everything apart. It also shows you your fan locations, where you can fit radiators, all the removable mesh filters that are on the case. You can see all your fan options. And then it gives you a breakdown of the fan options, the compatibility, the SSD brackets. So it gives you a very nice breakdown. And last but not least, we have our little toolbox that they include. This is a very nice feature. You can put all your screws in here. They all come in here from Phanteks. These little compartments are removable. So if you wanted to make one larger, wanted to make this a multi-function toolbox down the line after you built your case. Otherwise, you can keep your screws neatly organized in here so that you can easily get to any screw that you need to put any of the components into the computer. Close it when you're done, set it aside. Very nice additional feature from Phanteks. Thank you for watching the overview of the Phanteks case. Make sure to find the full review on the hightechlegion.com website. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel for our latest videos. And you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/HTL reviews, twitter.com/hightechlegion. Make sure you also stay tuned for the full walkthrough and component installation, where we get a computer completely set up in this case. We break it down. I put a water cooling system in it to cool the CPU, and go ahead and show you just some more flexibility of the case and what can be done with it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.